Testing, testing, testing. Test, test, test. Good evening, everyone. It is just started raining here at Jack Beswick Stadium at Keck Field, and was clear for the whole pregame. And about 10 minutes ago, just when the players went into the locker room, small little system popped up and started raining. But luckily, we've got a nice turf field that will keep everything dry on the playing surface, and looks like this might blow through here pretty soon. Tonight we have the Fort LaBeouf Bisons coming in at 3-0. They have demonstrated early this season their dominance in our region, and you know, like we said on the broadcast last week, this year's a slightly different format. We have a 4-team region, and we're playing every team twice. So we're starting starting the second round of those competitions tonight. And tonight with me, Jeremy is not here, but I do have my brother Malcolm Bell as well. I'm Luke Bell here, and we're going to get you started here with Fort LaBeouf kicking off to the Fairview Tigers.
Justin Blows pops one up. Every offensive lineman's dream for us. We do not have him on the roster, but first and 10, 58 ended up pulling it in.
You know, Fairview's coming in. Fairview's coming in with a lot of injuries,
especially in the offensive backfield. So
yeah, offensive backfield, offensive linemen. I mean, it's kind of everywhere. So we do know one of our captains, senior Sam Zablotny, who normally is our fullback, put on 51 tonight, and he's going to play some offensive line for us. Yeah,
and so number 58 is someone that usually probably plays a different position as well.
So we're seeing a different formation out of the Tigers here. We had the wishbone.
Yeah.
Not something that they've shown yet this year. Typically, I mean, it's a small variation off of their normal set of the ace back tight slot, and you just take those tight slots and put them in the backfield. But something a little different for Soboleski. So we were just told that Stalzitz, who's typically number 3, is number 58, a sophomore.
Yeah.
So we're having seniors and sophomores playing positions that they normally don't, you know, to try to help out the team.
And up to Januso with the carry again, right up the middle. 2-yard gain. 36. So far, like Luke said, I mean, it's the full wishbone. It reminds me of like film from before we were born of Oklahoma, way back in the day. I know that we run option football, and that's where a lot of it started.
Yeah, I mean, really, it just went back to kind of a base formation of this offense.
Yeah. Oh, Corbin, there's a ball on the floor. Oh, they called it down. We're actually here down. Yeah, it's going to be 4th and 6 right now.
No gain on the play. 4th and 6.
And it looks like we are going to be going for it because of the driving rain. So 4th and 6 at our own 39. Now we're back to one of our base formations of double tight slot. Corbin's going. Oh, here we go with a quick kick. Good boy.
And it looked like a bobbled snap there.
Yeah.
Didn't quite get it off the turf. You know, in these wet conditions, sometimes that can happen. And didn't even get past Corbin there, and ended up being a loss of 2 yards on there. So Fort LaBeouf's going to start with great field position here on the 35 going in.
So we have 1st and 5 on the 35.
Fumble, ball's on the ground.
Did we get it back or no?
No, I think jumped on it.
Yeah, so it's going to be 2nd and 10.
So look like the weather's even hindering Endress there on his exchange as well. He fumbled the snap and was able to jump on it.
And as both of us know, any fumbled snap is always the quarterback's fault.
Yeah, it's never
not the offensive lineman.
never the offensive lineman's fault, of course. Coming out in the ace back with tight slot to the offensive left side. Got motion here, and they fake the toss, and they're coming back with counter.
Yeah,
and it looks like Januso in on the tackle, a gain of about 6 yards.
Yeah, so it'll be 3rd and 4.
Like they're with the ball, stopped by Jared Januso. 6-yard gain on the play. 3rd and 4.
This is going to be 3rd and 4 here. Their quick handoff to Rimpa there, and he was met in the backfield by Stalzitz, but his second effort was able to get him the first down.
Now it's going to be 1st and 10 on the 24-yard line.
Nickel stop. Rimpa picks up the first down.
Fort LaBeouf comes out in their base formation with the ace back. Looks like they have Harris in motion and false start there. That'll back up the Bison 5 yards here.
Encroachment on the defense.
Oh, okay, never mind. I guess we caused them to jump there, so it's going to give them a short down in distance here with the 1st and 5. Harris in motion, they toss it to him. He's coming around the edge, and he looks like he's got some space, and he was pretty much in untouched. So at 8:27 in the first quarter, the rain is starting to let up, but the Fort LaBeouf offense puts in a short drive here to put the first points on the board.
This will be McGuire attempting the extra point.
Oh, it looks like we were offsides there.
Yeah, it did look like we were offside. The kick was good, and they did not play the flag.
Left in the first quarter. Fort LaBeouf leads 7-0.
So the first time that these two teams played was at Fort LaBeouf, first game of the season. You know, there was a short preseason. You know, they didn't really have a full camp, so both teams were really coming into it. You know, just with that one scrimmage and not a whole lot of practice, and Fort LaBeouf definitely dominated that game. You know, it was tight in the first quarter or so, but ended up 48-0 Fort LaBeouf, and our offense just really struggled to really have any production. And Fort LaBeouf had a lot of big runs and just some big plays from their offense. So, you know, it's definitely something I know the coaches worked on this week to try to limit the big plays, and they seem to you know, hold them a couple plays there, but still letting up that big 15 to 20 yard touchdown run at the end.
Yeah, and they had some guys in position a couple times, and I think that's one of the things as far as you can also tell that. I mean, how long has it been now for Jeff out of LaBeouf? I mean, it's been over 10 years that he's been the head coach.
Yeah.
He's done an amazing job of really building a program and having a system. And Sobes is just starting off here at Fairview, and we have a little more youth on the field right now. And so you can definitely tell. Tyler Work returned the ball to about the 11-yard line or 12-yard line. The first kickoff, Blos just pooched one and gave a good positional kick, and that one he kicked away and got it over our heads.
Yeah, you know, I think our returners crept up a little bit because of the first kickoff, you know, went to our linemen up front. So Work and Januso were a little tight, and he kicked that one over their heads. So we'll see what the Tigers can do on this next offensive set here. You know, number 5 running on the field for us, for Zao. He had a big game last 2 games, you know, a couple touchdown catches. We'll see, depending on this rain, if Coach Sobolewski decides to throw the ball at all. Looks like a run up the middle that goes for no gain or possibly a loss of 1.
Januso
with the ball, 1 yard loss on the play. Second down.
So we're in our back to our typical formation of double tight slot. And they are throwing the ball
Here's
here.
the slant to Frazeo, the younger of the two Frazeo brothers. You know, the ball was just a little out of reach there for him.
The Buff did a good job of reading its cues because their outside linebacker dropped into pass coverage immediately and got underneath. I think there was definitely had some disruption there.
Looks like another pass, and they're going to go deep here to the other Frazeo. And just a little out of reach. The rain has started to pick up a little more here too. You know, throwing that wet ball is not easy. Neither is catching it.
Now this is a punting situation, and we'll see how
know-
we do this time.
Yeah, hopefully we can get the snap up. You know, once again, we stay in our offensive set for our punt. Now, Travis Burge, who typically is our punter, is hurt and out, so we have Januso back there.
So he
Decent
got
kick.
one off, yeah.
Very decent kick there. And it's fielded by Rimpa.
Set up.
And looks like it was a tackle by Januso, the punter. And Jeremy and Frazeo was in on it as well.
Frazeo did a good job that time fighting off the blocker and making the guy cut inside and then sticking with it because he was past him, but then kept after it.
Once again, giving Fort LaBeouf really short field position here. They're just on the 21, so only 21 yards to punch this one in.
They're in their wing right, tight slot left. Ace back.
Harris is in motion, and it's just a dive to Rimpa. And he is a tough runner, very hard to take down. You know,
Maybe at the 8.
we definitely get contact within the first yard or two, but he just continues to carry the pile and picked up 11 yards on that, 12 yards on that.
Yeah. He's doing a good job of keeping his legs going and running through that first contact, like you said.
Yeah.
Going to weak backs.
Oh, and they
They
give a little bit of a counter. That's a slightly different counter look than what they've given in the past. So, you know, when Mal's saying they have weak backs, what he's saying there is we have an additional back to the weak side of the offense where we have fewer receivers and fewer personnel. And that counter look was different than one that they've done in the past.
It was not their traditional counter. LaBeouf has an offensive tackle that's also rocking in stance, and I'm surprised the line judge hasn't called him yet.
Well, considering they didn't call us blatantly offsides on the extra
that's
point.
True. I was just say he didn't rock that time. Though,
Another
so good.
dive to Rimpa there.
Looks like he's down to the 2.
Andrews
So it'll be 3rd and goal. 3rd and goal from the 2.
I imagine that this is probably 4-down territory, although they do have a good kicker, and you know that's not something that a high school team always has. And actually, both of these teams tonight have a very good field goal kicker, and you know that's a good weapon to have. Looks like the rain is starting to let up a little bit, so might give some options. Fort LaBeouf did not throw the ball once against us the last time we played.
This is a different formation. This has strong backs and basically the guys in extra guard. Looks like Rimpa
Just gets in.
Yeah.
Once again, had contact in the backfield, but he just powered through our arm tackles and was able to get in for the score. So with 5:41 left, that puts Fort LaBeouf up 13-0. 5:41 left in the first quarter, and awaiting the extra point here.
McGuire's back on to attempt the extra point. This kick is good again.
So that puts us at 14-0 with 5:41 left in the first quarter. Hopefully we can get a decent return here and get our offense moving.
Yeah. It looks like the rain has subsided again, and I'm not sure if that's how it's going to be all night, where it's off again, you know, on again, off again, on again, off again, or what. But it has stopped for the the moment.
Ever since we got the turf, things like rain haven't been nearly as influential in the games as what it was in the past. Back when, Mal and I actually played on this field, and we both coached on this field.
Yes.
When a rain like that or especially the rain we got this week, would turn this field into an absolute swamp and would just really change, the game. I actually remember this is, I think, a game I was playing. You were coaching when the weather was so bad that Coach Leitner, we won the opening toss, and he actually chose to defend a goal as opposed to either receiving or deferring, which meant that we were going to kick off at the beginning of both halves. But it ended up working in our favor just because the field conditions were so bad. We were able to pick where we wanted to defend, and the ball stayed on one end of the field.
And we had a good kicker that year. And there was also, if I remember correctly, a pretty strong wind.
Yeah, it was a really strong
we
wind.
pinned him deep, and it never got out of that end.
Looks like this kickoff is going to go out of bounds, so this will give us some decent field position to start this drive here on the is it the 35-yard line?
I believe in high school it's the 35. Yeah, he's walking towards 35. Good.
We have a free kick out of bounds. Fairview would like to take the ball at the 35-yard
Free
line.
kick?
First down.
That wasn't technically a free kick, was it?
I think what he's saying is, well, yeah, it's not.
Oh, I guess we could have
re-kick.
elected to re-kick.
Yeah, we could have
which
pushed
we
it back some.
have busted a few so far this season. One for a touchdown, one inside the 10-yard line. Oh, and
Here comes the rain
the
again.
rain picks right back up when we're about to get under center. So not
We
very good
also-
timing for us.
Yeah.
Teams looking to the sideline. Coach Soboleski changing up the call here based on the defense. We've got motion, and Corbin's going to keep. He had a little bit of a hole there, but there was just an arm that reached in and got a hold of his shoulder pads to pull him back.
1 yard gain.
Looks like it ripped his jersey. This is going to be a
Our
problem.
backup quarterback is he got hurt.
Yeah, so
So I'm not sure.
he should
Do we
just.
get an equipment timeout here?
I don't think so. I'm not sure.
So it looks like right now we have a player that's taking his jersey off. It might be.
One of our injured players is taking his jersey off. And it looks like Coach Soboleski might just let the play clock run down here and
Take a timeout.
take a timeout. So Corbin is going to wear, actually I think it was Burge who gave him his jersey.
Number 8.
So Corbin's going to switch to number 8. And yeah, Coach does take the timeout here. So I guess a ripped jersey does not count as an equipment timeout.
Yeah,
The first charge timeout of the half.
The shoe being untied.
A shoe being untied does, so
Yeah.
that would be an official's timeout to get that fixed, but I guess it doesn't happen with the jersey. So Coach Soboleski takes the timeout, gives a chance to get Corbin situated, and then that way he can play the next play.
Yeah. And I want to point out, like, this is not to make an excuse at all, but obviously, like we've talked about, Fort LaBeouf is a very good team, and they're especially good up front on the offensive defensive line. And currently, we have 2 offensive linemen that have not played offensive line at all this year,
Or in their career.
or in their career, from what I know of, that are starting.
Yeah.
And so, due to injury and some other things, like we have 2 guys that have never gotten a rep in offensive line individual, have never been taught those things that are starting.
Yeah.
For some of
And
the
that's-
offensive
and that's
line.
very
So
difficult.
it's going to take some time for them to get their feet under them and to know what's going on.
It's also, it's a testament to the team aspect of these
Yeah.
players willing to completely change what they're doing just to help out the team. And so, it speaks to the culture that Coach Soboleski has started here.
Absolutely. And
Another slant pass to Jeremy Frazeo, and that was right through his hands, a little high, but he had some space on him. I think, both the slant there and then the fade that we had to Logan Frazeo, those are going to be there if we can just connect on those.
Yeah. As I say, it's and with Logan, I mean, more often than not, he's going to have a height advantage.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I mean,
And
he's what,
also
6'4",
being a
6'5".
basketball player, I don't think there's anyone on the field that can jump higher than him. Another rollout, and that looks like that was to Jeremy Frazeo on the
And that's a
sideline.
first down. Good
And he gets the first down. You know, we had a lot of trouble last week against Mercyhurst with our protection. And when we rolled Corbin out, we were able to get some more protection. Now, we rolled into the short side of the field here, rolling into the boundary, but it was still enough field to allow Corbin to get that ball off and into the hands of Jeremy Frazeo.
Yeah, and that was a good pass and catch. Good execution.
You know, sometimes when you roll to the short side of the field, it also limits the options for a quarterback too. Makes that field that he has to look into a little smaller. Going deep that time to Jeremy and just a little out of reach for him.
Second down.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see, and I'm not sure how much of a difference it'll make, but I mean, right now you can just see the defensive linemen are in sprinter stances. They're not even worrying about anything except for getting upfield.
Yeah.
You know, and so if we're passing quick passes like that, will it make them, you know, lay off a little? Hopefully we can get one of these runs to break.
Januso looks like he lost the ball there,
Yeah,
right? And they
the
are
bag
throwing the
came
beanbags. So, you know, Fort LaBeouf's coming up with a it's a 4-4 defense, but they walk up the outside linebackers to have a 6-man front. Like Mal said, they're just flying upfield. And that time,
recovered the fumble.
That time they were able to hit Januso in the backfield. Ball comes loose, and Fort LaBeouf gets the ball. This is their worst field position of the day, though. So they're
still
starting
on their
at the
side.
47.
Yeah, they're still on their side of the field, but
Yeah. So with 4:23 left in the first quarter, Fort LaBeouf gets the ball for their third possession here in Fairview territory already. We've got motion, and and it looks like he is gone. Is that Harris?
yeah.
It's a 47-yard touchdown for Harris.
Tackle trap.
Which that's tough. That's another misdirection play, you know, similar to their counter. That's one thing that Coach Nichols loves to do with his wing T offense. He'll get your linebackers guessing, and if your linebackers and linemen aren't disciplined, you know, he can really make you pay. And that's an example of one of those plays that made the defense pay.
Yeah, and the tackle trap's always tough because a lot of times linebackers are taught to key their guards, so they can make out, you know, calls.
They're offsides again.
Yeah, they can make out calls to let people know that there's linemen pulling, but a lot of times they're not keying a tackle.
Yeah, and
We
so
have dead ball.
that's
Coach,
one of those things
on
that
the defense,
in
half the distance
Coach
to the goal,
Nichols' offense
replay the kick.
that really is difficult for a defense to prepare for. Because like you said, their keys are very different. Instead of looking at the guards and looking through that guard fullback triangle, now they have to, out of their peripheral, look at those tackles to see if they're moving. So really what you want to tell your defense is that defensive tackle's got to make that call. Because you can't expect the linebacker to have their eyes everywhere. And so communication's big, and when you have those linemen pulling in the misdirection, it can create a very difficult task.
Isaac
Point from McGuire is good.
4:13 left in the first
So
quarter.
4:13 left. It is 21-0 advantage to the Fort LaBeouf Bison. So, you know, in a game like this, and another thing to talk about, you know, the program of Fort LaBeouf and where they've really built to be a successful program. For several years, you know, they've been in a 5A classification where they were playing Cathedral Prep and McDowell and even the city of Erie, you know, so they're playing these huge schools. And having to play it at that level for a few years, you know, can be really tough, can be really discouraging. So, you know, kudos to this coaching staff for, you know, even in that environment, developing a program, developing a team to hang in that environment. And then when you get the fortunate movement of moving down in a classification, now you can just really dominate.
Yeah, and I mean, the one thing, even though through some of those years where they were struggling against those bigger competition, they still had a lot of people coming and joining the team, and the numbers were up.
Yeah.
Tyler worked with the return to looks like there's 1-yard line on that.
Yeah, and you know, if you look through their program and look at the middle school and stuff, they have a lot of great numbers, and you know, that really helps. You know, something that I know, talking with Coach Sobleski, you know, he wants to see some similar results here in Fairview, building down at that middle school with Coach Blos and Coach Hudson, and getting those numbers out to feed into our high school program.
Okay, so 1st and 10 here, 20-yard line.
It looks like we got jet sweep to work. And
Tackled in by Rimpa.
looked like there was gonna be an edge there that he could maybe get some yards, but Rimpa just came out of nowhere and kind of lit him up and had no gain there.
He filled that hole. I thought there was a seam also because the defensive end did a good job of making him cut back in. Number 10 for LaBeouf, their quarterback. And they filled it real quick.
So we've got Twins really trips into the boundary
Trips into the
here.
boundary and shotgun.
Rolling out. That was very similar to play to where we got the first down on to Jeremy Frizeo last series, and this time we just defender stepped in and broke up the pass before Jeremy could get his hands on it.
And I mean, it was a good throw. Defender was there, but there was also looked like room to run.
Yeah.
You know, because of the trips,
for Corbin.
I would say we got the defensive end secured and sealed off pretty quickly.
Base formation, 3rd and 10 now. Corbin's getting under center. Januso's in the backfield, and he's stepping back, throwing, and right through the hands of Jeremy Frizeo. I think that was the result of a wet ball on that one. Looked like he expected to have that, and Corbin expected him to have it, and it just kind of slipped right through. It was a little high. You know, Jeremy did have to jump up for it. You know, but I've seen him make much more difficult catches than that.
Yeah. I noticed also earlier in the game there was a couple that went through his hands, and he's taking his gloves off.
Yeah.
You know, so he's trying to get used to this rain and trying to figure out.
Januso's punt is on the ground and it's rolling, and we are going to have LaBeouf start in their own territory for the first time tonight. They'll be on their own 46 with 3:07 left. They're going to get the ball for the 4th time here in this half. So we're slowly changing field position. Unfortunately, it's taking a touchdown for us to get the ball back each time. And
Now we have
they're
Twins.
jet motion, and it's just a dive.
Yeah.
So I'd expect them to come back with, you know, with that jet motion, whether you're either running jet sweep or, like you said, motioning to trips. That can create something difficult for the defense in the passing game. Now, like I said, last game, LaBeouf did not throw the ball at all. Now, they didn't need to, you know, winning 48-0. But, you know, I would anticipate them wanting to work on something because, you know, they've got their sights set on the southern half of the District 10 region, and they're looking to fight for a District 10 title here in a few weeks. And here's that waggle pass right now, and we
played that really well.
We played that extremely well, getting some pressure in there and getting a sack. And if you look downfield, each of those receivers, they released 3 receivers, and each one had some coverage with even some safety help over top. So, you know, the defense did not get lulled into, you know, a sense of LaBeouf only running the ball and getting hurt with one of those waggle passes. So.
I saw Charles Chevalier on that.
Yeah, he came in and maybe even would have been credited for the sack.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that was Stalzitz that was in on it as well. From the backside.
Now this is where that counter crisscross, something he would pull
Here
out.
comes
And here's
counter.
counter crisscross.
Yep.
And it looks like Harris the ball
again.
carrier, and a gain of 7, but still brings up 4th down, which
4th and 6 or 4th and 5.5.
this is the first 4th down that we've had. But once again, you know, they're across the 50. You know, our offense hasn't done much, so I would imagine they would probably go for it. Looks like they are punting.
So that was back-to-back big plays by Chevalier.
Yeah. Once again, another young player that we're relying on here. He's a starter for us at linebacker and has been all year. But coming in as a sophomore, you know, he's really, you know, coming into his own here.
Yeah. It's good to see him stepping up. Also, a shout out to his mom, who's an amazing preschool teacher.
Actually had both of our kids in preschool.
Yeah, and my second child is in her class now. So
she actually was my 3rd grade teacher as well before she was Mrs. Chevalier.
Yeah.
At Chestnut Elementary. So we go way back.
Yeah.
So it looks like we're gonna start this drive here on the 21-yard line here. Punt went out of bounds.
On the left hash. 35 seconds left in the quarter.
Looks like we'll probably get one play off here before we switch sides of the field. We're back to that wishbone set. The rain has stopped, and it looks like a give.
Okay.
Busting some room, and the ball came out. And it looks like that's going to be a defensive touchdown. You know, that was our first inside run that actually was having some positive results.
It looked like Rimpa was the one that maybe caused the fumble.
Had a positive run there. Was going to pick up 3 or 4, and then a great defensive play there by the Fort LaBeouf defense, and turned into another 6 points. So that's a little disheartening. You know, our defense comes up with a stop,
Yeah.
you know, forces them to punt, and then they score on our first play on offense.
McGuire lining up for the extra point attempt again. And this is good.
Pretty good.
28-0 with 24 seconds left in the first quarter. So it's bad enough when you have to deal with Fort LaBeouf's offense scoring points. When their defense starts scoring points, that makes it very difficult to go against. And it looks like the rain is starting to pick back up here. You know, I think it's, you know, something that you look at the radar and it doesn't look like there's much out there, but it just keeps, you know, formulating and coming back for more. You know, one thing that the Tigers have shown so far this year in the first 3 games is, you know, they've shown that they won't quit. You know, they've continued to play, and even when they might be outmatched or outsized, they continue to give it their all. And we really saw it, you know, against Girard in that holding on to the win late. And even last week, we came up just a little bit short, ending the game on the 6-yard line and losing by 7. But they still had some fight in them and didn't give up, which, you know, as a coach, that's all you can ask for. You know that you're not always going to be bigger and faster or stronger than your opponent, but you just hope that your team gives it their all.
Yeah, because effort's the one thing that you have control of throughout the whole time. Close with another kick to Tyler Work.
Tyler worked at the 18-yard line.
Looks like he will be brought down at the 26 or 25-yard line.
And we'll start another offensive series here. I think maybe this will be the last play of the quarter. I know I said that a few plays ago, and then it ended up defensive touchdown, extra point, kickoff. So as long as this isn't an incomplete pass, this will probably be the last play of the quarter. It looks like it's going to be a dive to Januso there. And he gets met right at the line of scrimmage and just kind of gets thrown back.
1 yard gain on the play.
Gets a gain of 1 on the play, and that is going to take us to the end of the first quarter, where we will then switch sides. So end of 1, we've got Fort LaBeouf 28 and Fairview nothing. The entire game, except for one play, has been on our side of the field. It's been dominated by Fort LaBeouf so far offensively. We've been able to move the ball a little bit, a couple first downs, or maybe just 1 first down, but not able to put a drive together. Tonight, you can't necessarily see the stands. You can see the visiting stands are empty. Earlier in the week, we anticipated having fans here like we did last week, but there was a ruling in the Third Circuit Federal Court that basically, long story short, put those regulations of 250 participants in, or 250 people in one event total, which that includes all of the players, coaches, officials, game personnel, every single one of them, goes towards that 250. So that really limits the number of spectators we are able to let in. So we're able to give some tickets out to the players, a couple each to try to get their parents in. But we are limited. We don't have the student section like we had last week. We don't have the additional fans, and we were not allowed to, not able to let in any fans from the opposing team. So it is a slightly different atmosphere from a normal Friday night. But I know if you talk to the players, they're grateful that they're playing, and that's the main thing. They just want to be able to play the sport they love, and so far that's what we're able to do. So it looks like we've got a pitch here to Truitt in the backfield, and looks like he lost a yard.
Jacob Truitt.
That was the first time that we've attempted to pitch the ball tonight.
This option offense, Mal and I know we've had to defend against it multiple times, and when it's run right, it is very difficult to defend against. However, it is an offense that takes a lot of time to develop, and it's something that Coach Sobolewski knew that wasn't going to be firing at all cylinders day one, and he's just got the patience to continue with it. Corbin throwing the ball deep to work, and it is out of bounds. Once again, that was another one that looked like he had some room to run, but he wanted to go for that home run ball.
Yeah, and I think one of the linebackers is staying. He's not dropping. He was staying more at linebacker depth. I don't know if Corbin is viewing him as a spy on those rollouts or not. But
yeah, I don't know if he had enough room to get the first down yardage.
But it would have been positive yardage, for sure.
But yeah, he could have possibly gotten positive.
The snap rolls back.
Januso gets a kick, but Rimpa fields it, and he's across the 50, and he has got some room here. It looks like he's going to take it all the way into the end zone. So first quarter we had LaBeouf's offense score, we had their defense score, and beginning of the second quarter we've got their special team scoring. So they are scoring in all 3 phases. So 10:55 left, that puts them up 34-0. 10:55 left in the second quarter, that is, and waiting the extra point. Now, if they get this extra point, that does kick us into a running clock scenario. However, that won't be until the second half.
So that'll depend on if the lead stays at 35.
Now, I'm not entirely sure on this rule or not, because this is a subtlety, but I think if there is a margin of 35 or greater in the first half at any time, it's an automatic running clock the entire second half.
I knew in the second half if that happened.
In the second half, if you reach 35 and then the down team scores, then the running clock stops. Okay. It goes back to a traditional clock. But I think and I could be wrong on that, but I thought there was something that if you get 35 in the first half, it means an automatic running clock in the second, whether that margin is decreased or not.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I will say that this isn't necessarily a surprising result. It's one of those things that Fort LaBeouf is making some good plays, and we have some guys in position where we're fighting, and we're just coming up just a little bit short, here and there. We're asking guys to play positions that they normally don't, so, it's just it's a little difficult.
Yeah, and I mean, Fort LaBeouf has some guys that are players.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Not to say that Fairview doesn't, but Fort LaBeouf right now has some guys that are stepping up significantly.
There is a stoppage here on the sideline. The officials are talking to Coach Soboleski. I'm not sure what they're talking about here. Trying to explain something. I'm not sure what it is.
Sure.
They changed the rule that you can actually make an agreement.
It's almost quiet enough that we could hear the conversation down there on the field. Typically on a Friday night, that is not possible.
No.
But once again, with the limited numbers, the band is not here. Only a handful of parents are here. So it's feels more like a...
4 minutes. 4 minutes on the clock. They're going to shorten the clock.
Okay. Take 4 off.
No, they want 4 minutes left on the
Okay, so it sounds like this might be an
clock.
agreement
Shut down, cut.
agreement between the coaches here. I mean, this is a sign of mutual respect here between the two coaches. They've agreed to, let's shorten the quarter down to 4 minutes. Fort LaBeouf has established that they're going to be the winners of this game, and so the coaches want to make sure that no one gets hurt, no unnecessary injuries. It's just a respectful concession here.
Yeah, at this point, the worst thing that can happen is for either team
Yeah.
to have
To
an
sustain
injury
an
to a
injury.
key player.
Yeah.
At 35-0. And so it's
So they shortened the second quarter down to 4 minutes left. It'll be interesting to see what they do in the second half. And I know because of our numbers, we were unable to have a JV game tomorrow. So they might try to look to put in some of those younger guys in the second half and have somewhat of a JV game here in the second.
Tyler Work returned the ball to the 25, and these are not their starters coming out.
Yeah, I saw
For LaBeouf.
saw a handful of guys,
Warming up.
warming up
Yeah.
on the side, jogging around. It's tough. Back before turf, you could tell just by the color of their jerseys whether they were starters or not. With this turf, it is tough to see. You can see that these jerseys aren't wet yet.
Yeah, and some of these numbers, I mean, I can tell that there's a lot of numbers that are different right now, if not all of them.
And we've put in a couple younger guys ourselves. Unfortunately, because of our injuries and stuff, we can't necessarily do that with everyone. But we do have some younger linemen and a different quarterback in there. Looks like younger Work, Samuel Work, is in at quarterback. And we've got Jet Sweet now to Truitt, who, Truitt's one of those freshmen that we've asked a lot of this year. He starts for us. He starts for us on. Actually, that was not Truitt. That was Ethan Laux, another freshman. But like I was saying with Truitt's one of those freshmen that we've asked to start for us on defense, and he's worked in on offense as well. And so, a lot of young players here that that are contributing on each and every Friday night. So, if these guys stick with it, they stick with the program. There's a lot of positive energy around Coach Soboleski and his coaching staff, and some great culture. I think it's something that we're going to see, some positive outcomes in the future.
And one of the big things that Soaps did
Got a
right
dead
from the
ball,
start was
snap
got more numbers
infraction
out.
on
Yeah,
And that,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the starting point.
5
Yeah,
yard
that
penalty.
made a big
Repeat
difference.
second down.
You know, some
That's,
guys that were on the fence. You know, he was able to get them out for the team, and you know, you also got to give it to this senior class. They've gone through 3 different head coaches in their tenure here, and they've stuck through it, and they're really, you know, giving it their all and being leaders for these younger guys to see, you know, how to build a program. They might not be able to be a part of it when the winning comes back around, but they're definitely a part of it now in the building process.
So now we have 3rd and 16.
No gain on the play.
19 coming up.
And I apologize, I just realized the camera was on the wrong part of the field. So last few plays, you just had the luxury of listening to us yap on, and you didn't get to see anything. So
Good thing there's not a camera in the press box and like the luxury of watching us.
we may have lost a few viewers on that one. So
Great.
so now we're third and long here, 3rd and 17. Got motion and a
pitch.
toss. Getting wrapped up in the backfield here. So it's going to be 4th and around 18, 4th and 20.
Hands up to Truitt.
We're under 2 minutes left in the half.
2 yard loss on the play.
You know, they might try going for it just to run a play. I don't know if we have a second team punt team. Although, looks like Work's going back.
Work's going back.
So,
And we have Wasila and Hess back for the Buff. Fumble snap, and he's going to run.
and he's going to run for it. And looks like he lost a few yards. So that's going to give LaBeouf the ball inside the 20. So it looks like they're going to be on the 14-yard line.
So it'll be 1st and 10 and 14 with 122 left.
Takes over on downs.
And again, this looks like
1st and 10 on the
13-yard
line.
for the Buff.
I think the coaches just decided that, all right, hey, varsity, you got us. You put up 35. Let's turn this into a JV. Let's get the young guys some time, you know, some development.
We have timeout.
It's definitely the backup.
Their second short hours time out of the half.
Because there's timeout to get some personnel
Yeah,
on both
yeah.
sides.
Yeah, both coaches need some time to make sure that we have the right personnel in there and we're ready to go. So when we do get to halftime, we do not have a band this evening for a halftime show, and you probably don't want to hear Mal and I talk on. So we're actually gonna mute it for a little while, and so we'll keep the video feed going. You'll get a nice view of the Tiger Paw at the 50-yard line, and then we'll be back with the commentary once the second half kicks off. But we still have 1:22 left here in the first half with Fort LaBeouf. Looking like they're in scoring position here on the 14-yard line to start their series. And we're still running a guy out late. Looks like we only had 10 on the field to start with.
Yeah, I would say the official turn around and did us a favor.
Yeah, officials helping us out here, knowing that everyone has young guys in. So looked to the sideline and said, "Hey, coach, you're only playing with 10." So
that time that was kind of hard not to point out possibly a player when everyone on offense moves except for the ball doesn't get snapped. But
yeah,
Should be on the offense.
yeah, and that's one that the official just calls on the offense.
Yeah.
He's not going to call on a specific
on a
player
specific
because
guy, it's everybody went though.
yeah. So that's going to back LaBeouf up a little bit, get him to the 19-yard line, give him 1st and 15 here. Looks like we've got a little bit of a counter there.
Donovan Davis with the ball.
It looks like
Ethan locks on the stop.
Locks on the tackle there. He wrapped him up in the backfield, but he was able to carry him forward a little bit for some positive yards. Puts us in a 2nd and 10 now for Fort LaBeouf. With 1 minute left, there is a stop.
Right now?
Oh, looks like we've got an injury timeout.
Is that number 70?
Yeah, it looks like Logan Deschner is he's hobbling a little bit. He's able to walk off on his own accord, but something looks up. Got the training staff out there to tend to him, and they're walking him to the sideline to check him out, see what's wrong. So they're winding the clock. We are now counting under 1 minute left in the half. 35-0 Fort LaBeouf, and they're on the 19-yard line. Or excuse me, 13-yard line, looking to go in. And it looks like a dive, and he is in for the touchdown.
Justin Lucian in for a 13-yard touchdown run.
It's Justin Lucian. So it's going to take it to 41 with 39 seconds left. We're waiting the extra point here.
McGuire again to attempt the extra point. Had some trouble with the snap.
And that kick was low and didn't get up to the upright, so it's going to keep it 41-0 here with 39 seconds left.
They brought in a backup placeholder on that.
Yeah.
So that was the first time, and it kind of bobbled in his hands, and he couldn't quite get it on the block for the kicker.
Yeah, in high school, they are able to put the ball on the block to elevate it a little bit. You can't do that in college or the pros.
Yeah.
But on the extra point, they're able to put a little block out there to help elevate the ball. Gives the kicker a little bit of advantage, in order to develop kicking the ball properly and getting it up. Like we said before, having a good field goal kicker on a high school team is a luxury, and not many teams have that.
That's for sure.
But we do have two good kickers here tonight.
Unfortunately, we've not had the opportunity for our kicker to get.
I was thinking that. Thinking that we have. Well, we'll get to see him at least kick off to start the second half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. And now they're having McGuire kick off instead of Blos, who's normally their kicker. It looks like they have their backups in as well for the kickoff team. So we'll see if he kicks it deep.
Gives a little pooch to Zayo's got a little bit of room there. They're taking him down inside the 20. A little bit of life.
Yard return for Zayo. First and 10 Tigers.
So we'll put the ball on the 20-yard line, 1st and 10.
Probably get a couple plays off here with our second team before the half runs out.
We have one timeout left.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, we had to take one for Corbin's jersey and then one to get the right defensive personnel in there.
Yeah.
Smith up the middle. Smith up the middle.
Looks like we got a gain of 3 on that dive there.
Second down.
That might be the end of the half unless we hurry the line.
And looks like Coach isn't in too much of a hurry here. 12 seconds left. We might get one play off, and this will be the end of the half here. 5 seconds.
5.
Getting set. 3, And we do get it off, and the quarterback work is running around the edge. Gain of about 1 or 2.
Yeah.
1 yard
One
gain
yard gain on the play
So
makes
it
it a
is
16.
halftime.
And that's the
And that's
first
the
half.
first half.
So end of the first half, we are going to end of the first half. It is 41-0 Fort LaBeouf. We are going to keep the video on, but we're going to mute our mics for a little bit, and we will be back for the second half. All right, welcome back. We found out we had some technical difficulties with the sound in the first half. So we're switching things up a little bit. Hopefully the sound's a little better here. But we are going to have two shortened quarters here at 4 minutes each. It was agreed upon by the coaches. And we're starting off here with a kickoff to Fort LaBeouf. That is going to be a big return here, all the way to the Fairview 33.
I think it was Wander who had the return.
So the coaches agreed at halftime that we're just going to do two short quarters here, 4 minutes apiece. Give the young guys a chance to play. Make sure that everyone stays healthy. Because there won't be a JV game tomorrow. They're trying to get some of those reps in right now. So Fort LaBeouf's going to start this off here on the 33-yard line.
Fullback power, bounces it outside.
And he does not go down until
the half-yard line.
Until the 1. He just kept running. Would not come down, got hit several times, and eventually stumbled down to the 1 yard line there. So big run for the young fullback for the Bisons.
Yeah.
So it's going to set up first and goal on the 1 yard line for Fort LaBeouf.
And after a run like that, you kind of hope to see them give the ball back to him so he can try to punch it in.
Get that first score. I imagine that it would be his first score on.
Yeah, he is a freshman.
On varsity on a Friday night. Although with the scores that Fort LaBeouf has had so far this season, their young guys may have had a lot of playing time already.
Yeah.
So he does punch it in there. Puts it up to 47, awaiting the extra point.
I know the one extra point that was missed, they had a backup holder, and I see their starting holders back in. And so they have young offensive line. I don't know if their long snappers young, but their kicker and holder are going to be their typical startors.
Still shuffling some guys out there. So with the second team, and he threw the kicker threw the block aside.
He's
so
deciding no block.
He's gonna kick this right off of the turf. He's got the leg to do that for sure.
Yeah.
The snap, the hold, and looks like the kick is good.
So it is 48-0 with 2:39 left in the third quarter.
Which that was the score of the last game, of course. That wasn't until the fourth quarter that it got to that.
And it was 4 12-minute quarters.
Yeah.
Running clock.
Yeah. So the Tigers are going to get the ball back here with 2 minutes and 39 seconds left in the third quarter. Once again, the quarters in the second half are shortened to 4 minutes. Just agreed upon by the coaches to try to get some young guys some playing time and hopefully get out of here tonight with no injuries on either side of the ball. Looks like the rain has stopped. Still a little damp and cold out there, but there is no rain currently coming down.
At halftime, when I went down to use the bathroom, there was an older gentleman that did not look like he had the proper rain gear for tonight that was sitting on the heater and trying to warm up. And so there is definitely a little more of a chill in the air tonight and after the rain. I'm sure some of the starters are getting a little cold.
The kick is to work. He's going to take it up the middle, has a little bit of room, and is brought down at the 33. So the Tigers are going to start their series here at the 33-yard line. Once again with the second group of offense in there, getting those younger guys some playing time. We've had a couple JV games this year, but because of our numbers, and some injuries, we have I think we've canceled at least one. So it's good to see the younger guys get some playing time tonight, especially since we already established that there wouldn't be a JV game this weekend.
Yeah, I was just saying, it also, not just in their development this year, but their desire to stick it out for next year.
Smith had a nice little hold, and I thought he was going to bust one, but a linebacker, I'm not sure who the linebacker was, but he came up and filled that hole very quickly and knocked him back.
Yeah. Still a gain of 3, so we have 2nd and 7.
And we're just under 2 minutes left in the third quarter. You know, it's also encouraging to see the older guys on our sideline, cheering on our younger guys out on the field. Had a quarterback keeper there by work around the edge. He was able to get 1 yard on it before he was taken down.
3rd and 7, 3rd and 6.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to be 3rd and 6 on the 37-yard line. Yeah, and also Coach Sobolewski is not calling the plays here. He's letting his JV coach call the plays as well. You know, he's
jet sweep.
Oh, to Truitt, and Truitt's trying to lose ground in order to get around the edge, and ends up getting taken down in the backfield. Looks like a loss of about eight or so.
Yeah.
7-yard loss on the play.
So it's going to bring up 4th and long here. And there's about 30 seconds left in the quarter.
Let it go to the quarter.
And they do not need to snap the ball. We do have about a half a second lead on the play clock compared to the game clock. So they're going to let this run down, get it into the fourth quarter. We'll switch sides of the field and most likely punt this ball away. So after this week, we've had 3 games at home here with Girard, Mercyhurst, and then Fort LaBeouf. And then we're going to be on the road for a while. We're going to go to Girard, to Mercyhurst, and then we'll start playing our out-of-region games, which I don't remember the order offhand right now, but you'll have Corey and Franklin and Seneca, in those last few weeks there. So definitely have a stretch here where we're going to be on the road, and then in 3 weeks we'll be back home. Start of the fourth quarter here.
We're going for it, and they're in a punt return.
Looks like we are going to go for it here. We've got motion, toss, and he gets a few positive yards before taken down. And so it looks like Fort LaBeouf's going to start with the ball here on the 32 or 33-yard line. So, it's one of those that it might as well give your offense another chance to run a play. And
considering the circumstances, we've had some issues with our punt tonight.
So, having the young guys just run an offensive play sometimes is just the best option. So 3:40 left. Fort LaBeouf's coming out on offense, starting their drive on the 33-yard line. Their base formation, ace back. Got some waggle motion, a dive up the middle, and he has some room. And it looks like he is in for the score.
That was number 26 for Fort LaBeouf. He's not on the roster that we have, although there are 3 freshmen that don't have numbers. But
Three-yard touchdown run for Fort LaBeouf.
That makes it 54-0, waiting the extra point attempt. Dominic Stearns.
So we were just told that was Dominic Stearns for the touchdown there.
One of the men on the rosters without a number.
There you go. One of the freshmen
Yeah, it makes sense.
getting some points there. And it looks like the kick is good.
It's good.
So 3:21 left. It is Fort LaBeouf 55 and Fairview 0. We're gonna get our kickoff return team set up here. We did have a nice kickoff return by Tyler Work on the last one. He was able to get us into some positive field position. Had a good kickoff return by Jeremy Fizeo right before the half.
Yeah.
So there's a chance to maybe bust one here, get us into field position, and maybe see our offense do something positive here before the end of the game. Kick is deep to, looks like Work again. Work's got a little bit of room and, is taken down right near midfield. Looks like about the 49.
Yeah.
One thing we haven't had many of tonight are penalties. Aside from, occasional false start or offsides, it's been a very clean, hard-fought game. Definitely some mutual respect on either side of the field here. So, it's always good to see that.
Yeah, and this is not. It's very competitive, but these teams, there's not a hatred. They're rivals, but there's a lot of respect. There's a lot of just healthy competition.
Got a dive there to Smith. Looks like he's picking up a couple yards there. 3 yards on the gain, right up the middle.
Three-yard gain on the play.
So as we come down to 2:30 left in the game, we'll see if maybe we can break one here.
And the ball is out, and it looks like Fort LaBeouf was able to fall on it.
Fort LaBeouf might have gotten it.
Recovered by Fort LaBeouf.
So 2:12 left. Fort LaBeouf is going to take over close to midfield here. We had a positive play on first down, and then turn the ball over on second. So give the ball right back to the Bison and see what they'll do here with 2 minutes and counting. So most likely with this running clock, we'll probably only see a couple offensive plays here by Fort LaBeouf.
Yeah, it looks like they might be taking a knee.
Oh, yeah, it does look like they're taking a knee. And they do have enough time here to just kneel it out.
Yeah.
So with the 40-second play clock, that will pretty much do it for us. Actually, we're going to be a little close. Depends on if maybe the officials get a little liberal here on waiting to set it.
Yeah, I think
the intent here is to just, we were able to play a clean game. I think, aside from some bumps and bruises, I think everyone stayed healthy,
Yeah,
which
on
is the
both
important
sides.
thing on both sides of the ball. So everyone can get prepared for next week. Fort LaBeouf is going to go to play Mercyhurst in another region matchup. We'll play Girard. Fort LaBeouf is, this moves them to 4-0 in the region with 2 region games left, where we drop to 1-3 in the region with our win against Girard, and then 2 losses to LaBeouf and a loss to Mercyhurst Prep. But we're back out at Girard next week, and then we'll finish our region play at Mercyhurst Prep, which might actually be played at the university on a Saturday game in 2 weeks. So it looks like that does it for us. That's going to be the end of the game. And next week, like I said, we are at Girard. We'll have some type of coverage there, whether it's on this YouTube channel or on radio or something like that. But there will be some form of coverage, especially since we anticipate spectators to be limited. So we will have something. So thank you for tuning in. Wasn't the result we would have hoped for, but it was a good, hard-fought game here by the Tigers and the Bison.